and welcome back to New Wave Hockey. I'm your host, Link Dancevich, and today we are going to be going over my top 64 draft prospects for the 2025 NHL draft. And yeah, it's only February, but we're up to 2 rounds and some change now. Today, I will confidently rank 64 members of the 2025 NHL draft, and I will give you just about 8 honorable mentions, so I hope you guys would enjoy that. This is a massive undertaking by me. It took a long time, but I've effectively watched about 5 games on each of these guys, put in the minutes, put in the work, and yeah, I really feel good about this list right now. Again, things are changing. I'm last second, I'm always like, oh man, what do I do here? Do I put him here, put him here? Again, it's gonna change. Things are gonna change. The season is still going on. We still have about a month and a half or 2 months left until we get to playoffs for most of these junior teams, but I'm so excited. Let's just get right into it because at the top there's the most contention. Number 1 overall has changed for me. Now I have Michael Misa going first overall. I have moved James Higgins down to 2, and I have kept Matthew Schaefer at 3, but I wanted to particularly talk about the top 3 of this draft because I don't think I can remember in my memory 3 players standing so far above the rest of the class as it has been in this draft. Like, Matthew Schaefer is fantastic. He is leagues above the guys behind him. So is James Higgins, and so is Michael Misa. But I wanted to talk about why I've ranked them in the order that I have. A lot of people have had Matthew Schaefer at their number 1 spot, and I wanted to talk about why I have him at 3. I definitely think he's going to move up when he comes back from his broken clavicle, but as for now, 17 games is really not a huge sample size when you think about it. Of course, you see the potential when he's on the ice. Of course, he is the youngest player in this draft class. Like, he was born September 5th, 2007. He will not turn 18 until I'm a senior in college, which is mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing. But there's also James Higgins, and there's also Michael Misa too, and they've played full and complete seasons, and they've progressed massively through those seasons. I think they right now have a really solid body of work. I just want to see a bit more from Matthew Schaefer before I can confidently put him at number 1. Don't get me wrong, he is fantastic, and he compares to Miro Heiskanen. He's going to destroy the NHL, but I think James Higgins and I think Michael Misa especially will do that as well. I think all 3 of these guys are elite, top of the lineup guys who will be perennial all-stars at the next level. Misa is tearing up the OHL. I mean, he's 2 points per game. It's been harder and harder to deny it. He's got a perfect game. He can play anywhere in the lineup, and I think he's going to do just fine for whatever team picks him. Hopefully first overall, for my money at least. James Higgins is your typical number 1C. I think he's in the mold of Logan Cooley and Jack Hughes, and he's another version of one of those 2. We keep getting these amazing playmakers from the United States of America, and they keep churning out, and James Higgins looks like he's one of the best that they've churned out in a while. I'm a big fan of Higgins. I really think he is extremely underrated. People are kind of playing down what he's doing at Boston College, especially in the defensive side of the game. For my money, James Higgins is still in the top 2 discussion. People talk about the weakness of this draft, not at the top 3. These 3 are absolutely incredible. I think they would rank extremely high in most other drafts that we would see. So as for now, I'm keeping it Misa, Higgins, Schaefer. It's this close. It's razor thin. I can't even stress how razor thin it is, but I think everyone has their opinion, and they either have, I guess, Higgins, Schaefer, or Misa going first overall. Let's get down to the rest of the list because I've talked about the top 3 enough. At number 4, I have Porter Martone. He was number 2 a couple of months ago. He's dropped down. He's still scoring at a really solid rate. He's doing a great job. I want him on the Flyers. I want to pair him with Mr. Matvei Michkov back there, but his skating has been an issue. It's got to get fixed. And again, he's not being this big bruising 2-way forward that was promised to us at the beginning of the year. Again, we all compared him to Matt Tkachuk and Corey Perry, but we have yet to see that physical side that Matt Tkachuk and Corey Perry bring. Moving on to my 5 through 10, it's changed around a lot. I now have Victor Eklund ahead of Roger McQueen. Victor Eklund has been playing out of his mind in the Allsvenskan this year. He's not point per game, but I think what he's showing people is that he is able to have a 2-way game that is really, really solid. Like I talked about in my Prospect of the Week video, he is a skill player at heart, and he's got a 2-way style of game that most players would kill for. This guy is so physical, he's so on edge, and I think everyone's going to rank him so highly because of it. That's why I have him number 5 over Roger McQueen. I'm waiting for Roger McQueen to come back before I can properly bring him down any further. Again, I really still think that he was totally in the running for a top 3 spot before that injury, and I even had him at number 3 all the way back in October, and I still think that he has the potential to do that. We'll see what happens when he comes back. I am hoping for him, so hope you come back strong, Roger. Moving it down to 7, I have Caleb Desnoyers, someone that I really wanted to move up even further, but I know how good Roger McQueen is. I know how good Victor Eklund is, but he's somebody that I was really flirting with a top 5 spot because of just how good he has been. He's the best QMJHL player that we have seen in a long time, and he is playing really good hockey right now. He's a good distributor. He's a really sneaky good scorer, and he is just so intelligent. I went over all of this in my Prospect of the Week video, but Caleb Desnoyers is really one of my favorite prospects, and I can't praise him enough. He is just absolutely fantastic. Expect him to go up maybe in later lists, but we'll see. At number 8, I have Malcolm Spence, and I've realized that I'm a lot higher on Malcolm Spence than a lot of other people are, and I don't really feel a lot of shame for it. No, not at all. And I'll tell you why. At his best, when this guy wants to, when it's on, he can take over games, and he is just unstoppable. He can be an absolute force, and I know that somebody can get the most out of him. And again, this is a little bit of aspirational. We have to look at the whole package of what a prospect can bring. But when that skill, that power, that muscle can put him skill-wise in the top 4 alone, in my opinion, then this guy is fantastic. He has so much potential. I need him to just lock in, give a bit more effort, please, for my sanity, and score some more points, because him not performing well with Matthew Schaefer out is not the greatest look, but Malcolm Spence, I really believe in you. I know you're one of the best skill guys in this draft. Who knows, maybe he'll get that fire going for him. Maybe he's going to be playing in an international tournament sometime soon, and he turns it on, and he becomes unstoppable in the OHL playoffs. At number 9, I have Radim Murtka, my second defenseman on the board, the first Czech on the board. He was in Oshulari Trinich for half this year, came over to Seattle. You all know this story if you watch my videos. 6'6", right-hand shot, 200 pounds. He can play defense really well. He defends the rush incredibly well, but he's adding a bit of an offensive flair. His offensive number are, yes, they're a bit inflated because he is not a great shooter. He's on the top power play line. He's on the top penalty kill. He's on the top line getting top minutes for that really good offensive squad there in Seattle. But you can't argue with results, and you have to look at some of his whole body of work. He's getting some impressive goals. He's making some impressive passes. In transition, this guy is really solid. He's one of the best neutral zone defenders in the entire league. So I am inclined to give him a top 10 ranking, partially because he's a tremendous defenseman, but also you'll see a theme here. I think after pick 7, it kind of drops off, and people that I would not normally have in my top 10 are in my top 10. That's just kind of the point. This is a really weak draft class. And I'm not saying that Radim Murtka is a bad defenseman. No, not at all. I think he can be fantastic. But I don't think he would be I don't think he would be a top 10 defenseman in a lot of other drafts right at this stage. So we will see what happens with him. At 10, I have Jake O'Brien from the Brantford Bulldogs, a really smart center. We have some really good all-around centers in this top 10. Caleb Desnoyers, Victor Eklund, Michael Misa, James Hagens, and Jake O'Brien. I saw a lot of tape from him last year when he was playing with Merrick Van Acker. When I was watching Brantford games to watch Merrick Van Acker, I would always notice Jake O'Brien, and you know what? He's come out of the shadow, and this guy is the star there in Brantford. He has the A. He's an assistant captain. He's a very mature individual. He is playing very well. He just needs to bulk up and skate a little bit better, but that offensive talent is on display almost every night, and it's really something to watch. I'm a huge fan of what he can do in the offensive zone, and again, he's a top 10 talent. He's fantastic. He's been doing really well this year, and he's crawled his way into this top 10, and he's earned it. He really has. At number 11, I have Anton Frondel. I know I'm a bit low on him than a lot of other people are at this stage of the game, but it's kind of still precautionary. He only just came back and is only just now scoring points. And again, his scoring's a little inflated. He had 1 4-point game. It was a pretty awesome game, but I want to see more consistency from Anton Frondel before I rank him any higher. He is a tremendous talent. He has the potential to take over games, but I'm worried about too many facets of his game to rank him any higher into the top 10. He's not that great of a stick handler. He's not that great of a skater. It limits his ability to carry the puck and just makes him more of a foible instead of a star. So Anton Frondel, I'm bringing him back to 11. We all know what he's capable of. I want to see more of that throughout the rest of the season. Maybe I'll bring him up. We'll see. At 12, I have Justin Carbonneau from Blainville-Boisbriand Armada. I've always been high on this guy. I've been really high on Justin Carbonneau because I really think that he's proved his mettle. This guy is not just a goal scorer, even though he's a pretty damn good goal scorer. He's not just a goal scorer. He's a two-way presence. He plays bigger than he actually is. He has some sneaky good passing vision. He's got some stick control. There's a lot to love about Justin Carbonneau. I'm a big fan about what he can bring to a team and the passion that he exudes, but at the end of the day, teams need goal scoring, and you're going to find it in Justin Carbonneau, the second Quebecois player in my top 12. Moving on to 13, I have Milton Gastrin at number 13. This may be a shock to some of you, but Milton Gastrin has been playing really good hockey in Modo this year for Sweden. I want people to put him on their radar because I don't think you're watching enough Milton Gastrin. You're seeing a defensively reliable guy who plays a really good two-way style of game, can move the puck really well, really good in neutral ice, a good skater, and a competent offensive scorer. I really think Milton Gastrin's upside is a lot higher than people think it is. I think he's somebody that is going to surprise a lot of people. He's going to make the NHL earlier than a lot of people think, and I think that in a class where the middle of the first round's kind of weak, he's someone that can take advantage of that. And he's kind of stood out on the tape, and that's something that I've really valued. Do I think he's going to stay at 13 the whole time? We'll see the strides that people just behind him take, but I really feel confident putting him at 13 at this point. We'll see what everyone below him does, but Milton Gastrin has been fantastic at this point of the season. At number 14, I have Blake Fiddler, a big 6'4", 200-pound defenseman, right shot, who just has a ton of potential. As for what he can do with his potential, his defense is getting better. It's not completely there yet. He needs to get better. He needs to be a better backward skater, but the offensive upside is really solid. He's a very athletic, very raw defenseman from the WHL. All the WHL high-class defensemen are very raw products, but they look like they can pan out, and Jackson Smith and Blake Fiddler look really, really solid. Speaking of Jackson Smith, he's my number 15 skater. I had him in my top 10. I moved him back a little bit because examining his game more, I was a bit too forward with what I was saying. His defense is not that great, and he needs to be a better defender to prove it to me that he can stick out and stay as a top 10 product. And I think he has the potential to do it. Very, very raw. Very, very athletic. This guy is a good skater. This guy is a good player. It's just the defense needs to improve, and he's getting there, and he's on the right track. It's just I want to see it better and more consistent. But Jackson Smith, seriously, one of my favorite players in this class. Go check out the video that I just made of him. At number 16, I have Lyndon Lakovic from Moose Jaw in the WHL. Once again, a big left wing, 6'4", 190. He is going to be a pretty solid scorer at any single level. And at number 17, I have Carter Bear, who is absolutely killing it for Everett in the WHL. I do have some size concerns in the way that he plays. He's a very grit and sandpaper guy for being 6 foot, 179 pounds. And though he scored a ton of points, I am worried about the skill aspect of his game and the scoring aspect of his game translating to the next level. However, he's a tremendous prospect. I definitely see him moving up in the future because he has just found a way to get points and win. At number 18, I have Logan Hensler from Wisconsin, a right-handed defenseman, 6'2", but he's got that offensive flair to him. I had him really high to begin the year, and he's gaining that form back that everyone knew that he could one day achieve. He's scoring goals. He's making highlight reel plays now in Wisconsin, and he's getting the trust back to become a top 20 prospect again. He looks like he's going to have a really solid second half. At number 19, I have Bill Zonon from Roy and Noranda in the QMJHL, our third Q player in the top 20. He is a big home run hitter. I'm a big fan of GMs possibly taking a swing at this guy at number 19. He is a wing, but he sometimes plays center for the Huskies. 6'2", but I value this in a prospect so much. He plays about 3 inches and 30 pounds heavier. This guy is a big dude. And what is lost on a lot of people when they are watching his game is he's incredibly smart. He's a very smart player. The skating holds him back. The stick handling holds him back from creating. You can tell he's a very smart player, and he's going to feature in my top 20 for a long, long time. At number 20, I have Kayshawn Aitchison from the Barrie Colts. This guy is going to be a fan favorite someday for whoever drafts him. He's a very physical defenseman who can score and put up some points. I've been a big fan of Kayshawn Aitchison for a little bit. He is a beast. This guy will run right through you, and again, he shows no mercy. Huge fan of Kayshawn Aitchison. At number 21, I have Ben Kindell from the Calgary Hitmen, a very small, undersized scorer who makes a lot of really intricate and nice and neat plays. He's a very fine-tuned stick handler. He makes a lot of unique plays, and he's just someone that I've really felt has taken another step in this draft process. Very, very solid player. At number 22, I have Carter Amico from the USN TDP, my first USN TDP player on the list. Carter is another huge defenseman in this draft class. The defensemen keep getting bigger and bigger, and they are just so solid. He is 6'5", 225 pounds, and he is a physical menace. This guy will throw you without a second thought. He is actually a beast. His defense is really tight, and he's someone that would feature a lot higher on this list if he did not get injured in December. He's out for the rest of the year with leg surgery, but he will be playing at BU next year, and people will see that he is 100% worth a first round grade because of his tight defense. If he falls out of the first round, it's because he got injured, and people are going to see this guy. He's a very good, very physical defenseman. Don't let him slip on your board. At number 23, I have Cameron Reed from the Kitchener Rangers. I had this guy as an honorable mention last month. He is one of the reasons why I wanted to update this list, because he is so good. A very smart and solid offensive defenseman. Makes very creative plays, very good in transition, a really good passer, and he's got some hands to boot. These OHL defensemen, they know how to create some offense, and Cameron Reed is no exception. He's been fantastic this year. At number 24, I have Cullen Potter from the Arizona State University Devils. If you want to see a wickedly talented skill player, look no further than Cullen Potter. He is absolutely gross with his hands. He makes some disgusting plays, and he's succeeding and scoring at the NCAA level. That is huge, and that is first round grade in my opinion. He has just been a tremendous scorer for the Devils for the Sun Devils this year, and has added life to their program, honestly. But I will say that even though he deserves a first round grade, this year, in other years I don't know if I would have him as a first round prospect. Sure, he's grown. He's not really as small as people first thought. He's not 5'9" or 5'8". He's 5'10", 172 pounds, which is small, but it's not that small. I probably would not have Cullen Potter as a first round player in a lot of other drafts, and you're going to start to see that this first round is kind of weak. It's going to get a lot weaker as we continue down this list, and I talk about these players in less and less detail. At number 25, I have Kurban Limitov from Moscow Dynamo in the MHL. Left-handed defenseman, big, 6'3", nearly 200 pounds. Kurban Limitov is a very tight defenseman who does need to improve his skating just a little bit, but he is a confident player that moves very well in the offensive zone, and he joins the rush, and he gets some points. So look out for Kurban Limitov. He is a sneaky two-way defenseman who can do a lot of jobs for your franchise. Moving on to number 26, I have Cole Retchney from the Victoria Royals in the WHL. A very strong skill guy that I think with a couple more strong showings could ease his way back into the top 20. He's someone with a lot of skill, a lot of poise, and he's making waves as a center and playmaker. I really like his play. At number 27, Jakub Wozniak from Luleå. Yeah, he's made his way back into the first round. He's playing a lot better. He's playing like he wants to play. He's got effort in his game now. I'm more of a fan of him now than I was, and the fact that he's playing some reps at center is also very nice to see. And again, the potential is always there. He's nearly 6'3". He has so much to grow, and he's been playing like he's a first rounder now. So good job for you, Jakub Wozniak. You've made it back into my list. Number 28, I have Braden Coots from Seattle. He's just an offensively talented dynamo. He's been playing really solid this year. What I'm worried about is his play away from the puck, and the fact that he is not physical at all, and he doesn't really look like he wants to sometimes. But with the puck, he is as fast as pretty much anyone in this draft class. At number 29, I have Brady Martin from the Sioux in the OHL. He is a really safe center. A very solid two-way game that could translate to the next level, and I can see him getting some NHL time, but as for him standing out offensively, he doesn't really do that on the tape. He doesn't really pass the eye test, but you can't ignore his two-way play. He is pretty solid in that aspect. At number 30, I have Hayden Papanekas, a huge 6'4" center winger from Kelowna in the WHL. He was actually a part of the Andrew Cristall trade that sent Cristall to the Spokane Chiefs, and Papanekas was one of my honorable mentions, but now he's in the first round because of how much he showed off in his first week with the Kelowna Rockets. He's been really rocking it for the Rockets. At number 31, I have Simon Wang of the Oshawa Generals, another ginormous player, 6'6", 212 pounds, left-hand defenseman. a very, very tight and competent skater for a 6'6" defenseman, and he's a pretty solid defenseman to boot. He's been making some really solid plays, getting a little physical, and he's earned this first round ranking. At number 32, I have Jack Murtagh from the USN TDP, a very skill-gifted, offensively minded winger who has been making some pretty awesome plays in a kind of lackluster USN TDP forward class. So that'll do it for the first round, but now let's get into the second round, 33 through 64. I'm going to be going through these players relatively quicker than I did the previous 32, just for the sake of brevity and kind of just keeping it simple. I'll give maybe one or two traits to describe them, and we'll keep it going. At number 33, I have Michigan State's Shane Van Saggy, a big power forward winger. Love him. At 34, I have big and tall 6'5" right-hand shot David Bedkowski from Owen Sound, who is not just his height. He does a lot of things in spite of being extremely, extremely tall. At 35, I have Cameron Schmidt, an unreal offensive talent, a really great skater, but only 5'7", 161 pounds, and big effort concerns and issues. He needs to fix those very soon. At number 36, I have Eddie Genborg from Linköping in the SHL, a very competent forward who's making a statement with his two-way play and a pretty competent shot. At number 37, I have Joshua Ravensbergen from the Prince George Cougars, our first goalie on this list. He was my first round just a little bit ago, but I felt that his play as of late was not really a first round ranking. Let's see him get his save percentage over 900 for the season, and then maybe I'll put the 6'5" athletic freak of a goalie into our first round. Number 38, I have Sasha Boumedian from Boston University, someone that I thought very highly of at the beginning of the year, has slowly been declining, but his defensive value has been getting better and better. At number 39, I have Dmitry Isayev from Automobilis Yekaterinburg in the MHL. He is a little rocket man. Watch this guy go. He makes incredible plays with the puck on his stick. Very fast, very tight, very good stick handling, and honestly a surprise out of the MHL this year. No one really knew about him, and now he's playing exceptionally well. He's got himself a top 10 ranking in European Central Scouting. Very well done, Dmitry Isayev. Number 40, Charlie Trethewey from the USN TDP. Very solid defensive defenseman. We'll see if he's anything more than that throughout the rest of the year. At number 41, Will Sharp, a very, very solid two-way defenseman out of Kelowna in the WHL. Has a pretty sharp offensive game, but I want to see more consistency. I want to see a better defensive game from him. At number 42, Portland Winterhawks, Max Seneca, very exciting 6'4" defenseman. Skates pretty well too. At number 43, I have Matthew Guard from the Red Deer Rebels, a very exciting big forward who makes some impressive plays. At number 44, I have Dakota Rail-Mullen from Michigan, an exciting young defenseman who just needs to put it all together for Michigan and show more of his offensive upside as a defenseman. At number 45, Nathan Bain from the Kamloops Blazers. I need to see some better skating, but this guy is a rocket and he knows how to score. Don't count him out this early. He is still scoring incredibly at the WHL. At number 46, I have Jack Nesbitt from the Windsor Spitfires, a big and tall forward who's making a name for himself with Ethan Belchitz and Liam Greentree, but I just don't see an incredible offensive upside in the tape. That's why he's down at number 46 for me. At number 47, Maxim Agafonov, another two-way Russian defenseman who will find himself jumping into the offensive rushes and being pretty good at it. He just needs to get better at defense. At number 48, I have Thomas Politin from Lahti in the Finnish league. He turns a lot of heads and scores some pretty impressive goals. I want to see him round his game out more as the year progresses. At number 49, Ben Keevan from Des Moines in the USHL. Similar story with Ben Keevan, a really electric scorer, really smart with his stick. He's got to improve the shot selection and become a more well-rounded scorer and player. At number 50, I have Eric Nilsson from Djurgårdens, the third member from Djurgårdens on this top 50. That's incredible. A very shifty and incredibly skilled scorer, just kind of undersized for me and doesn't really run with the big dogs. It remains to be seen how he'll translate to playing against men. At number 51, Reese Hamilton from the Regina Pats has fallen kind of far because people thought he was more of an offensive defenseman, but his two-way play is really solid. I think he can carve out a name for himself with his defensive play. At number 52, I have Will Horkoff from Michigan, huge forward who left the USN TDP and joined up with Michigan. He's been scoring at a pretty impressive clip there. We'll see how his season continues. And at number 53, I have Ivan Ryabkin, who has fallen all the way down here for a number of reasons. Yes, he does have the talent to score and become a really solid two-way forward at the next level, but do I think he's going to get there? Not necessarily. I think his NHL upside is kind of in question at the moment. One, due to how he's clashed with not one, but two locker rooms this season in two different continents. It's been hard for me to rank him in the first round alone. I hope he makes a comeback, but man, you know how disappointed I am when I bring him back 50 slots from where he was in August. At number 54, I have Riker Lee from the Madison Capitals, an impressive winger who's been scoring at a pretty solid clip in the USHL and has some upside as an interesting offensive forward, just needs to find some skates. At 55, I have Adam Benak, another USHL forward, undersized, but knows how to score. He isn't higher because he's not scoring at a really great clip at the USHL, but I think he'll turn some heads when he goes to international play. At number 56, I have Luca Romano from the Kitchener Rangers in the OHL, a very solid forward who is incredibly skilled with the puck, but not so confident without the puck. I want to see a little bit more out of him throughout the rest of the year. At number 57, I have Conrad Fonder from the USN TDP, another pretty skilled forward who is rocket on the power play and penalty kill. Really like his off-puck play. At number 58, I have my second goalie on the list, Semyon Frolov from Lada in the MHL. He is tearing it up right now, and he's 6'3", looks like an athletic freak to me. Put him in the first two rounds. At number 59, I have my first overager, Christian Epperson. He's been playing really solid with Michael Misa in Saginaw this year, and I was a pretty solid fan of him in the USN TDP last year. We'll see how he continues to progress this year. At number 60, I have Arvid Drott from, you guessed it, Your Gardens, the fourth Your Gardens player that I've had in my top 60. He's a very high energy forward, and I really like the way that he plays. At number 61, I have William Moore from the USN TDP, a once very highly touted prospect, is someone that I've brought all the way back here because I really have never understood why people were ever so high on him. He lacks effort, he lacks skating, he gives away the puck a lot. I'm putting him in my top 61 due to the offensive upside. At number 62, I have Lasse Berlius from Assat in the Liga. He's been playing with men and he's been looking really solid as a defenseman. Always very telling when you can succeed and play good defense in an older league as an underager. At 63, I have Vaslav Nestrasil from Muskegon in the USHL, a 6'5", very bruising forward with some scoring upside. He's been looking pretty good this season. Let's see if he can keep it up. At number 64, I have Cole McKinney from the USN TDP, a very high energy center who is really solid in the two-way game. And with that, you have now heard my entire top 64. This took a month to do. It was a lot of tape, a lot of work, but I finally got it done, got all my thoughts down on paper, and now I've got all my thoughts on to you. I've been sitting here recording and I've been getting tired of it. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been getting tired just doing all this and saying all this. It's a lot of words, a lot of things. But before I go, let me list off some of my honorable mentions for you guys. There's Thomas Pobazol from HK Nitra, Mateo Nobert from the QMJHL. Pyotr Andreanov is another Russian goalie who's killing the MHL right now. He's a little short at 6 foot, and I'm a little worried about his upside, but he has been playing insane. Henry Brustevich, a defenseman for the London Knights. Owen Conrad from Charlottetown in the QMJHL. Gustav Hillstrom from Brynäs in Sweden. Ethan Zada from Niagara in the OHL. And finally, Peyton Kettles, a massive defenseman, 6'4", from Swift Current, who is one of the youngest players in this draft class. That is my top 64 and change. I really just named 72 players and told you something unique and individual about every single one of them. That's all I have for you guys today. This is going to take a while to edit, so I hope that I can get this out on Monday or Tuesday. We will see, but thank you guys so much for watching. I will be talking about the 2026 draft class and what to look forward to very soon, then followed by another prospect of the week. But for now, as always, I'm your host, Link Dansevich, signing off.